Well, joining me now from Black Mountain in North Carolina is Philip Kosnett. He's a former ambassador of the US to Kosovo and non-resident senior fellow for the Transatlantic Defence and Security Programme, Centre for European Policy Analysis. Philip, thank you so much for talking to us. So do you think diplomacy can still prevail here?
I think diplomacy absolutely can prevail, Kimberley. There has been some concern expressed in the media that the American government has been saying that war is imminent or that war is unavoidable. I don't think that accurately reflects the position of the United States or of the alliance. But in the end, there is one man who can decide whether or not war is going to take place, and that is Vladimir Putin.
OK, well, so many things to break down here. I mean, Joe Biden has said that he's moving troops or will, in the near future, move troops to Europe. That does suggest they are getting ready for some sort of an interaction.
I think the most important thing to remember here is that NATO and the European Union and the Americans, we all have to speak with one voice and make it.
That's the problem, though, isn't it? That they're not really speaking with one voice.
I think it's coming together. It's very difficult to get a consensus among 30 nations about anything. I mean, look at NATO. Countries as diverse as Iceland and Canada and Turkey are members of NATO. The European Union is also quite diverse. Nobody wants war. Nobody in the West wants this war. The people of Ukraine don't, and I don't believe that the people of Russia have any interest in this war either. Putin keeps claiming that he is not planning on a military escalation in Ukraine. So it's really up to him.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because the Russians said, well, we can put troops wherever we want to put our troops. But you don't move 100,000 military personnel to an area without some sort of reason for doing so.
Right. And the Russians have played this game before where they claim that they're deploying troops as an exercise and then they cross the border. I don't refer to what might be imminent as a Russian invasion of Ukraine, because Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014 when they seized Crimea and moved Russian forces into the Donbass. So what we're talking now is about an escalation of an invasion that's been going on for 8 years, which the West has largely become numb to.
Why do you think, if it did escalate, as you say, that this time would be different?
Well, I think Alex Rossi did a good job of explaining what Putin's motivations are. He wants Russia to be taken seriously on the world stage, and if that's true, I think he's going about it the wrong way. He's certainly not demonstrating his intent to act as a constructive partner in the global community, but he also very much wants to reestablish Russian primacy in the Russian sphere of influence, what the Russians call the near abroad. I mean, the most extreme interpretation of what's going on is that Putin wants to reestablish the Soviet Union in all but name. And we see that not just through his efforts to intimidate Ukraine, to intimidate the Baltics, but also his actions in Central Asia. You'll remember just 3 weeks ago, Putin sent Russian troops into Kazakhstan to support his allies there. And that is not something that other countries in Central Asia viewed as positive. There are important countries like Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, that have refused to sign up to Putin's his collective security treaty organization in Central Asia because they don't want their future to be decided in Moscow or in Brussels or Washington or Beijing, for that matter. The countries of the former Soviet Union want the opportunity to chart their own future.
So Boris Johnson, obviously going to the region next week, he's going to be talking to Vladimir Putin on the phone. What do you think he could say to him to de-escalate this?
I think, and you touched on this earlier, Kimberley, it's important for the leaders of the alliance to be delivering the same message, that nobody wants war, but the Western powers will support Ukraine if it comes to it. So I think that part of what Putin is doing is he is looking for the cracks in the alliance and not only passively observing them, but trying to strengthen them. Look, if I were in Vladimir Putin's shoes, I might be looking at the United States and saying the Democrats and Republicans can't agree on anything. Both the Trump administration and the Biden administration were eager to withdraw from Afghanistan. all of the Western leaders are wrapped up with the COVID crisis. There is a new leader in Berlin, who may or may not prove to be as tough-minded as Merkel did. Boris Johnson has his own political problems at home. So let's just see how far we can get. And if it turns out that the Western alliance is unified and the people of Ukraine are unified, then he can back down. Now, in terms of what he might do, Alex made the point in his briefing earlier that Putin has a number of options. I mean, frankly, I think it is reasonably unlikely that he would attempt to conquer all of Ukraine by force, send armored columns to take Kharkov and Kiev, because the Ukrainians also get a vote in this. The Ukrainians will fight. And as much as Putin likes to talk about the friendship, the historic links between the people of Ukraine and Russia, ever since 2014, we have seen a steady increase in, I won't say anti-Russian attitudes in Ukraine, but anti-Putin attitudes. He has succeeded in strengthening Ukrainian nationalism and creating determination in Ukraine not to be returned to the Russian fold.
Okay, Philip, we're going to leave it there. But thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you. Pleasure.